and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had ruled by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on the right hand or in their forehead, and that no man could buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Hello, welcome to Line by Line Bible Studies. Good morning. And as you see, we're departing from the regularly scheduled study. Last night I was preparing it, and I saw we're at video study 666. I mean, 666 video studies. Doesn't count every video, but I counted it at some point. I counted just from these streams. And I thought, why not do a Mark of the Beast special? You've been wanting to talk about it for a while, and it's a subject people like to hear about, or at least they're going to be interested in. And I even made a clickbaity title and everything. So, smash that like button. There is no Patreon support. I didn't create anything like that. There's no GoFundMe or other things, but you can support the channel by subscribing and clicking the like button. It helps with the algorithm, so go ahead and do that. Okay, and like all things in this, and obviously the song we played at the beginning was from Revelation 13, specifically about the Mark of the Beast. Now, one of the things I want to do talking about the Mark of the Beast, I thought I'd look at some other point of view. I'll listen to somebody else for a while. Actually, I was searching for images for the Mark of the Beast, and I came across an article online. And no, the COVID-19 vaccine is not linked to the Mark of the Beast, but first century Roman tyrant probably is. You know, and it annoys me because this is like the same kind of political propaganda we get in the regular news. I mean, it's like, well, we're going to go through it. Let's go through it. The Mark of the Beast, an important subject in the old book of Revelation. This is the Old Testament. But let's read this. No, it's not linked to the Mark of the Beast. I don't know how I want to dive into this. You know, I've been talking all year with COVID-19. How COVID-19, and you can see the name of the. I wonder if that's bad to have his name there. Well, whatever. I wonder if it's if I give you a link to the article, all you gotta do is look at the title, you'll find it. So whatever. Anyways, but this is this article, by the way, written by a associate professor of religion at Ferrum College. And this shows why you shouldn't learn prophecy from the spiritually dead, because they can't lead you. They can't. Because in the times you're living in, they have no help for you. In fact, they tell you things that are important are not important. They tell you things that you should be paying attention to, don't pay attention to. This vaccine issue. Now I can assure you that the Mark of the Beast is not in and of itself a vaccine. You know, like you get, when you're a little kid, you get all your booster shots, right? And that's not some sort of Mark of the Beast. This cat vaccine. So why are they why has this article even been written? Why are people talking about the Mark of the Beast in context with COVID-19 and the vaccine? Well, as anyone who listens to me knows, all year I've been talking how masks have worked like the Mark of the Beast. I don't think they are the Mark of the Beast. I don't think the vaccine is the Mark of the Beast. But it can work like the Mark of the Beast, and that's why people are pointing it out. You know what I mean? The idea of the mark of the beast is that when you receive it, it makes it so that no man could buy or sell save he that had the mark or the number of the beast or the number of his name. And we heard that song at the beginning. I mean, it's a passage you should be familiar with. If you're not, we'll read a bit from it probably, because we have up to an hour to talk about this. But, because you could go to a store and to buy or sell, you had to wear a mask. Now, this wasn't absolute. But one thing I found interesting was that one could achieve similar restrictions, as you saw in Revelation, without resort to things like microchips. And from my perspective, all my life, I was born in 1973. I grew up in the 80s, and the prophecy programs on television when I was a teenager and checking this stuff out, the mark of the beast was going to be a microchip they put under your hand. We were getting closer and closer to the technology to have the mark of the beast. And I'm going to put that off the screen because I don't want to put that on the whole time while I'm talking about it. The idea was that we needed technology to be able to exclude people from buying or selling, and that the book of Revelation was looking forward to the future because it has futuristic technology in this mark of the beast. But obviously, now we've gone through the COVID-19, we see with a very low-tech solution, you can get similar effects. You can also get similarly ostracize people, make them the other. You can make them hated even. Because people would become aggressive towards me at times, and also, certainly belligerent. Not all the time. I try to maintain a very pleasant attitude, and also I am not quite 6'3" and not quite 230 pounds. So, I don't present the type of person that people feel necessarily comfortable just opening up against. Because it's fright. When I get angry, people get scared. Just publicly, if I start getting angry in front of people, they start being frightened. My brother has the same problem where people think he's going to become violent just because a big man who's angry looks dangerous, and it's reasonable. It's reasonable to feel that way. Okay, but I'm not saying the mark of the beast is the mask of COVID-19 or that it's the vaccine. Now, why would people be saying it's the vaccine? Why would anyone ever think such a thing? We've had vaccines for a long time. Why would this vaccine be linked to the mark of the beast? I like the way he uses the word linked. That's an interesting choice of words. A COVID-19 vaccine. I like the idea that he talked about linking, because that's what the mark of the beast is all about. It's about linking things. It's very simple. And it's funny to me, like I said, the spiritually dead aren't going to get it. And when I read his article, I'll show you exactly why this guy doesn't get it. He has no business teaching people the Bible. He should get a different job. Unfortunately, he spent all his formative years getting an education in the Bible. And unlike me, he doesn't even have an honest job to make a living with. So anyways, I get bitter. I don't get bitter, but I could get bitter if I wasn't such a jovial person when I think about it. No, because I don't envy the wicked, but at times, the Psalms talk about it. Sometimes we get a little frustrated by the wicked and forget our patience in the Lord and that God is in control and all those things will work out in their own way, you got to trust those things and not get too upset about it. But, it does make one feel a bit outraged because people such as that really have no business, at least from God's perspective, in handling God's word. They're spiritually dead. They don't have the Holy Spirit. They don't know God. They're not, I don't know. I'm not saying a preterist is not a believer because he's a preterist, but the way this guy's a preterist feels very dead and unbelieving. And certainly it can't help anybody. You can be a preterist and be a Christian, but you're not going to be very helpful in terms of prophecy. And I mean prophecy, whether it's the future or now, or even the past. But what is the link? Well, the link is very simple. Having the mark of the beast is linked to their ability to buy or sell. And the mark of the beast is also itself linked to worshiping the beast. You can see here, that no man may buy or sell. Buy or sell. That's what the mark of the beast does. And I remember for a while, there was times I was afraid to go into the store. I didn't want to. I felt I needed to. And I got away with just not wearing a mask. For several weeks, I didn't wear a mask at all. And then for a while, I told people I just tied it around my neck and wore it like a scarf. And only put it on if people asked me to. And then I took it off as soon as as soon as someone was no longer close enough to me to warrant it. To if someone comes to me and says, I'm frightened of COVID-19, would you please put your mask on? Fine. I don't want to get into a lengthy discussion. I got to be in town every day almost, it seems. So it's I don't really care to stop every 5 minutes to have a discussion about it. So I wore it that way. And it was interesting because I got a lot less trouble over it, really. But aside from that, the fact that wearing a mask is linked to buying and selling is why I compared it to the mark of the beast. The fact that the COVID-19 vaccine is linked to a lot of the same things. Like when you say someone can't go and do things in public or go to concerts or go to other commercial events or go to certain stores without the vaccine or the mask. You know what I mean? This is, again, intruding on that territory of you must do this to be able to do the essential aspects of life. It is a totalitarian instinct to take over people's lives. The mark of the beast is just that. And it doesn't, and I'll tell you right off the bat, it doesn't matter. Like when I saw the COVID-19 vaccine, I said, this is the proof once and for all. It doesn't have to be a microchip. This could be the mark of the beast. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make it look more like a check mark. Oh, great. I drew it totally. Well, it looks like it to me, to me, it's like a check mark. Okay? Which makes sense because I drew it on myself. Let me see your mark. Also, it's a 7, not a 6. If you look, it's a backwards 7 though, but it looks like a 7. Anyways, but there you go. I've got them. And wait a second. Before I sell you, I want to see your mark. Okay. You can say, well, people could work around it. Well, there could always be workarounds with the mark of the beast. The scripture says no man may buy or sell. So, but it doesn't. It means it could mean they are forbidden from buying or selling. It doesn't mean that they can't find a way to get food or can't find someone to trade with them. It's just that they will find it extremely difficult. Like I walked into Walmart without a mask. They were harassing me immediately. Sir, where's your mask? I walked into Menards. They're like, sir, wait, sir, yelling at me. I've had people come. I'm alone in the store. Right? I got my mask around my neck. I obviously have one. I'm not wearing it. You know why? I'm at Menards. And it's got a 100-foot ceiling or more. It looks like about 100 feet to me. 100-foot ceiling. And I don't see anybody. Like, nobody's around. It's a big empty store for the most part, right? A perfect environment for not spreading, a upper respiratory disease. Such as this. Perfect. Only thing better would be outside. Outside would be better. No one around. My mask is down. It's my... Sounds good, doesn't it? Right? And then people walk up to me. Not people, but like the someone who works there usually. Because you have to be official to become a busybody. It's hard to be people who are busybodies without having some official job to be a busybody. Those people are the real busybodies, but there are other busybodies, they need a job. If they have a job, then they become a busybody in their job. And, it's a little more understandable. Come up to me, holding a mask. Here goes, sir. I got one. Oh, would you please wear it? Sure. And because I went through my mind a lot of times the argument I would have with that person. You're not going to convince anybody. Especially considered that it's delusional. So think about the mark of the beast. They're going to believe that the beast is God. And so, of course, they're going to worship him. They're not even going to understand why you don't have the mark. Why don't you have the mark? Where's your mask, sir? Everyone's wearing them. It's almost absurd that you don't have one. That's how rare, because the fact that you can't do anything without it. Why aren't you wearing it? And plus, the beast is God. Well, you don't worship God? So let's look at this article again, a little more in depth. Let's see what he had to say. Because this is what sparked, I looked at this, I'm like, this is what I'm going to talk about. The COVID-19 vaccine, I link it to the mark of the beast. It is not the mark of the beast. It is not the forerunner to the mark of the beast as far as I know. But, the impulse to tie getting a vaccine to your normal economic activity is the same totalitarian impulse you see in Revelation, where Satan runs your whole life. The government wants to, that's what the mark of the beast is about. That's what the vaccine is about. That's what wearing masks is all about. It's the same general principle. And that's what these people don't understand. They don't understand principles. They're so busy making political arguments with the preterists and the futurists and stuff, they don't understand the scriptures. Let's read what he said. I like the feeling I have in my heart. Like I'm going to be pissed off. The mass rollout of COVID-19 vaccines has led to concerns from some people that can be described as rational. What are the side effects? How effective will the shot be? And then there are those who are, I'll put myself in that camp. As far as, my first concern about the vaccine, the reason I haven't gotten it is because, one, I had COVID-19 in October 2020 and probably in March 2020. And in March 2020, I had a much worse case of the same thing I had in October 2020. In October 2020, I had COVID-19 because I got it through contact tracing. I didn't get a test, but the person I got it from, her parents had gotten it and had a test, and she came on an airplane, visited our home. We didn't know, and then we had COVID-19. Okay. And I'll tell you the truth. I visited my 79-year-old father with COVID-19. I intentionally went to his house and dropped my children off there, and also brought my future daughter-in-law to meet him because I don't believe in social distancing. And my father, the reason he didn't get sick is probably because he's exposed to children all the time. They touch him and bring their diseases to him, so his immune system gets a chance to work with them. So when COVID-19 came to him, he barely showed any signs. Because of course, when I went to his house, I didn't start kissing him and talking to him in his face. I was like, "Oh, Dad, I'm not feeling well, and it might be COVID, so I'm not going to give you a kiss today." Because I don't want to spread 1,000 viruses on your face. But a wave and a hello, and I'm just going to get out of here real quick. My kids all got it, whatever. He didn't get sick, but I'm certain he was exposed. I wanted him to be exposed. Because that's why people in nursing homes die, because they're isolated. And you visit your family members. They need your germs. They need your contact. Okay, so I'm not really excited about taking a vaccine that they just developed yesterday. It's one thing, something that has like this track record, but I'm not in and of myself afraid of the vaccine. It's like going to kill me, the health risks. But here's the thing. I already had COVID-19. I went to the CDC website and wanted to know, because I was like, well, what do they say about people who've already had it? Should they get the vaccine? And they're like, and the argument was basically like, well, it's safer to get the vaccine than to get it naturally. I was like, this is like not information. Because like you're saying I should get the vaccine and not get it naturally. What about if I already had it? They didn't address that. Well, some people say it's not effective for very long. And then after 3 months, you should get the vaccine again. Well, whatever. Then what's the point of the vaccine? My point was I had a disease that didn't really affect me very badly. Not the second time. Nothing worse than the flus I've had. The first time it was worse than any flu I've ever had. Okay, I'll tell you. In March when I had it, I've been sick worse, but not that way. And I never had a fever for more than like a day. That was like a full 48 going on 72-hour fever. So, yeah. It was a good full 48 hours. I don't want to push the details too much. But anyways, so I was significantly sick, but I got better. So I'm not afraid of the risk. And also because I do have a significant I have some immunity. I'm less likely to. It's just the whole thing is just I never cared about COVID to begin with, and I don't care about it now. 3 times as deadly of the flu as the flu. That's 3 times as deadly as I don't give a crap, which is still I don't give a crap. As far as as far as like, I care about the people who are at risk, but as far as my own risk, no, I don't care. And we protect people who are vulnerable. That's what you do. You can't stop life. We might as well just put governors on all the cars so they can't drive faster than 15 miles an hour. And we'll make them all out of foam rubber. Make everyone legally wear a helmet at all times so you don't stumble and fall. And we'll mandate everyone's diet so nobody gets fat either. And then the government will make sure we're all safe. And miserable also, because that's what they usually do. If you want to look at the most miserable, poverty-stricken people in the world, look to those who are most helped by their government, such as the Native Americans. Except for those tribes that aren't relying on government support, where they're making their own way in the world. There are some tribes that do very well. But there are some places, like reservations, that do horribly. You know why? Because they're run by the government. And let me tell you this, the mark of the beast is all about government. It's the intersection of politics and religion. It's the unity of church and state, of faith and fealty. See, there's a certain set of beliefs that goes along with a lot of what people in the pandemic, it's like a lot of it was not, they say following the science. That's just a mantra. It doesn't actually mean anything because you can't follow. Science is a process. It's not something to follow. I mean, you can follow the process, but that's not what accepting the word of a scientist is. Accepting the word of a scientist is, well, I don't believe in scientists. I believe in science. I just don't believe in scientists. Meaning, I believe they can lie. I don't believe that that they are these magical founts of truth and perfection. I don't. It's one of the things I thought the last president, was at a distinct disadvantage because he was facing off with doctors and did not appear to be a man who was accustomed to dealing with them. Like, I am somewhat accustomed to dealing with doctors because of the number of pregnancies my wife has been through and the times I've had to butt head with doctors, or I've watched her do it, to be quite honest, in the delivery room. I mean, I had to stick up with her, but sometimes there were times when she had to stick up for herself. I can't be there every second. And not only that, she's a woman who was able to defend herself. Say no more. Okay. The hospital, fighting doctors. I thought he wasn't equipped to fight the doctor. He fell out of his depth. And I felt like he let us down in that regard. Everybody lets you down. It wasn't like he had never let me down before. Or anyone had never let me down before. Plenty of people let you down. But it's tough when you're facing off against an expert in a field that you don't know much about. Same thing with prophecy. Okay? So the side effects and the shot, that's one thing. But I am also worried about our civil liberties being eaten away by the vaccine being mandated. And they're not mandating it through the government. The government is getting the stores to mandate it. Well, how do you think the mark of the beast is going to work? It's going to be mandated not just by stores, but by every individual you meet. That's the important thing you got to understand about the mark of the beast. It's not going to require some massive, computerized system like the Chinese social credit. I mean, that's all scary. And look at that stuff, microchips and stuff. That's very much like the mark of the beast, okay? Someone starts planting microchips in you. I don't know. It depends on where they want to put it, honestly, because I think those, for soldiers, if my son was a soldier, while he's a soldier, I would want him to wear a tracking chip. If my children were going to school and riding around town on their bicycles unaccompanied, like I was as a kid, and we live in the country, so there's no town to ride in, but they have a lot of freedom here. But if they were there, I wouldn't, it's just, these days, I definitely feel for people who want to be able to, if their child's missing, just take an app, open it up, and find out where the hell they are. Like your pet. It's a little controversial. I don't think it's the mark of the beast. Certainly not if it's voluntary. And certainly not if it's not tied to commercial activity. But the thing is, you get that, then all of a sudden it could be. But then again, it would rob it of what the essential ingredient of the mark of the beast is. In the mark of the beast, the essential ingredient is that it's instigated by the beast, the second beast of Revelation, and it is connected to the worship of the dragon and of the beast, the image of the beast. And it's the number of the beast. So it's deeply connected to the beast himself and that system. And so anything we see before it would just be some sort of forerunner. And the thing is, that's what I want to talk about in this article. All right, now we've kind of passed the basics of this, what I want to talk about as far as COVID-19. But let's talk about what he's talking about. Let's read the next clause. Then there are those who are worried that the vaccine will brand people with the mark of the beast, as described in the New Testament's book of Revelation. Okay, there are people who probably think, I know they talked about thinking there are chips in there, or there are other things in the vaccine, right? But he's not going to really address much of that. Let's see. The mark of the beast, a cryptic mark in Revelation, which indicates allegiance to Satan. That's a very poor way to put it, but yes. But it is not obvious to those wearing the mark that they are worshiping Satan. You should understand that. They think they're worshiping God. And that's documented by 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that the show Satan puts on is that he is God. Has been invoked by fringe Christian figures like me. I'm a fringe figure. I'm a marginal. I am the monster from the margins. There's no more marginal Christian, no more marginal person than me. Well, all I have to do is, patriarchs are not very well loved these days. The mark of the beast, the cryptic, it ranges throughout the pandemic in reference to what they deem to be the evil of masks and vaccines. I said it's not the evil of masks and vaccines. That's wrong. It's the evil of forcing people to do things against their will and against their civil liberties and against science. You know? They're talking about following the science, but they're not following the science. First it was no mask, then it's masks. And the truth is, most of your masks don't do much more than a face shield would, and probably less. You know what I mean? Like a clear face shield. Because the only point it does is, all masks ever did was prevent you from spitting on people. But they want you to wear it everywhere. You know why? Because they think you're a baby who needs to wear a diaper on their face, because you can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. You must be made to do something and show your obedience at all times. That's why they're linked to the mark of the beast. Not because they're vaccines, not because they're stupid masks. I love masks. I collect masks. This should have been a dream come true for me, because I used to love to put on masks and pretend to be something I'm not. You know, I liked Halloween when I was a kid. I liked to do it. I worked in haunted houses. I like to put on masks of skeleton. You see my band? You know? The Quest Lords of the Apocalypse with the skeleton drummer and all that? Yeah, I like masks. I don't know if it's, some people might say, oh my God, you're so ungodly. Okay, fine. But I like masks. What I don't like is tyranny. And I'm not against vaccines. All my children's have all their vaccines. All my children's, my gosh. All my children's. All my children's have their vaccine. That seems like a meme, right? Then that's how the meme character would say. All my children's has their vaccine. Has vaccine. All my children has vaccine would be probably the right wording if you want to make a meme out of it. A little cartoon. All my children's has vaccine. It ranges from the seemingly metaphorical liking of the vaccine passports by a Republican House to something like Biden's mark of the beast. Well, okay, whatever. That's an example. Someone liking the vaccine passport, which is a bad idea, which they dropped, to the more literal interpretation that those getting the vaccine would be marked as followers of Satan. Now, I don't believe either of those, but I don't believe what he's about to say. What he's about to say is where he gets really off the rails. It's tempting to dismiss such beliefs out of hand. After all, it's a fringe idea promoted by conspiracy theorists, but the idea gained enough traction that some medical establishments have felt the need to address it head on. Minneapolis-based Hennepin Healthcare, for example, states the online fact sheet that the COVID-19 does not contain the mark of the beast. Well, it doesn't, because it's not linked to actually worshiping the beast. But when they force you to get when they force you to get the vaccine, they pressure you and say you can't do anything without it's the same kind of social pressure that'll be brought to bear to use the mark of the beast. Except that it's not going to be just government. The mark of the beast will be enforced by every individual on the planet who worships Satan. By the people, because they're gonna not be able to believe that you are resisting this. Because that's mostly what I got from people is they couldn't believe and understand why I wasn't cooperating. They just thought I was a jerk. No. One, I knew my mask did nothing. I knew it did nothing. I mean, you know how I know it did nothing? Because this is my mask, And let's see. Ready? Can we do the Bible study through it? Let's see. You can almost do the Bible study through it. Can you? Yeah, you can. Look, see, there's my mask. Welcome to Lime. Oh, shoot. Now you're a dummy. All right, hold on here. Can't let you see what's behind my desk. All right, there we go. All right, so wait, I gotta go back and do it. This time I won't drop the camera. All right, here we go. And you saw it, but let's prove it. All right, you see my face there? Oh, gee, I gotta do something. I was gotta be so It's gotta be so. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now we can kind of see me back there. Yep, you get that. That's how effective my mask is. This is a mask I've been wearing all year. And you know what? No matter where I've gone and they wanted me to put it on, and I would wear it in any closed place where people might be freaked out, but I already had COVID, so I'm not going to really worry about it, but I did it for other people. I did it voluntarily for other people. And to me, that's enough. If I do it as often as I want, if I defy the orders, then I don't have a problem helping people when they need me to. I tried to be polite about it. There were a couple times I got angry, but I realized I don't want to be that person. I want to smile and, be better. I don't want, when people are getting angry at each other, I want to be on the side that is not the angry side. If possible. If I have it in me to bring it down a bit. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'm just too caught up in my own wrath. That's unfortunate. Okay. The mark of the beast, a cryptic mark, we read that, tempting to dismiss, right? It does not contain the mark of the beast. As a scholar of early Christian literature, I would note that the mark of the beast in Revelation has throughout history been misunderstood as referring to various events and phenomena. In connection to the COVID-19 vaccine is but the latest example of such misunderstanding. Wrong! Just so wrong. You don't understand the Bible. And then his argument, I love this. All our authors are experts. He doesn't know God. Moreover, I argue that the mark of the beast is best understood in the first century context in which it was used, a polemic against the Roman Empire. That's interesting. Because, as I pointed out, the New Testament prophecies do not come from the age they were written in. They come from the Old Testament. Like when Paul talks about the man of sin appear, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, right? When 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, or 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, sorry, I think I misreferenced that earlier, or in another study, but that is right out of Isaiah chapter 14. Or what Lucifer says in his heart, when he will ascend into heaven, we will exalt his throne above the stars of God. We studied that a few chapters back in the book of Isaiah. And the mark of the beast, that's just like the when you read in Daniel chapter 3. And it's what? The image that Nebuchadnezzar set up. I actually got the scripture for it. He said, Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had the wrong one up. He made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits, breadth of 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. All right, and then he gathers everyone, and he has these 6, notice 60 by 6. This image. And then there are 6 instruments that when they play, everyone, at the dedication of the image, they have to bow down and worship the image. At the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And whoever does not gets thrown in the fiery furnace. Whoever should not worship the first should be killed. Right? Whoever not worship. This is the book of Revelation. When John was writing the book of Revelation, he was gathering his prophetic impetus and influences are mostly Old Testament. They're not mostly political. It's very easy to read the Bible with one hand and look at the political situation in your times as another. So yeah, of course, scholars can take the Bible and then look at look around at historical figures in the time of John and say, oh, he fits in. It's probably a veiled attack on Nero. That's not actually untrue. Because Nero is an antichrist. Because Nebuchadnezzar was an antichrist. And when I taught the book of Isaiah, I explained how Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, is represented in these prophecies, but they go beyond him. And I know that because Paul quotes them in the New Testament as being still in effect and to be fulfilled in the person of Antichrist. And so that when the book of Revelation was written, that there was a contemporary example of a kind of ruler who could be construed as an antichrist type figure is not strange, because prophecies are not just written for the future or for the past, they're written for all times. They're written for every generation to learn and make use of. They are not just the past for scholars to pick through and to sort out what it may have meant a long way ago. It's not what the prophecy's for. The prophecies are given for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. And the things that happened before happen again in cycles, and they repeat. And the book of Revelation is just a compilation of all the prophecies that were ever written about the enemies. It's not just a compilation, but I mean, what I'm saying is it is in itself also a compilation of prophecy. That's not what it was constructed as. But it is maybe compilation is the worst word I could use. It is the culmination of all prophecy. And therefore, to link it to some one period in historical time in the past is the act of an unbeliever. In my mind, because it doesn't believe in a living God who gives living prophecy for future. It's an attempt to sew up the book of Revelation in, I don't know, whatever. I mean, I don't want to accuse every preterist of not being a believer. I usually try to be very generous in, if you listen to my other studies on the subject, when we've done Isaiah, the Revelation, the things having to do with the millennium or any of my millennium studies, I try to be not too unfair. Or certainly not to mischaracterize. I hate mischaracterizing people's views. I don't want to mischaracterize mine. But it's fine to understand, to think that, oh, look, it looks like Nero. But if you've ever studied Nero, the similarities are very sketchy indeed. And also, all the other stuff that happens in Revelation is way off. Like, if Nero was Antichrist, that's the most disappointing Antichrist ever. That's how I used to joke about, when it was George W. Bush, when it was Barack Obama, when it was Trump. Trump was somebody's Antichrist, apparently. Right? I'm going to see why people could think that, because he was not a seriously religious guy carrying the Bible around, talking about his favorite book. It was BS, right? Does he think it's an evil intention? No, it was well-intentioned. That's the odd part. Well-intentioned. BSer. Too bad. I feel like just a little tweak in that character and that person could have been a much more effective leader. Because it was pretty effective as it was. And whoso falleth not down and worship the same, blah, blah. We're not doing that study on Daniel. The 3 Hebrew children refuse to worship it. They're thrown in the fiery furnace, and guess what? They don't die. The smell of smoke is not even upon them. I mean, and that also just, there's so much prophecy just in that, and that gets carried through. It happens later. Similar events happen to people. They will not touch a hair of your head. Not a hair of your head shall perish. I mean, you don't have anything to fear of the enemy, because ultimately you're in God's hands. Though they kill me, they cannot kill my soul, and God can bring it back together. If they burn my body and stomp the ashes, God can gather them from the 4 winds and to make this come alive again. So I will not fear them. Anyways, okay, let's go back to this guy's little article here. Reading Revelation with first century eyes. Well, I'm not against this, but it's when they say that this is the be-all, end-all. They rob you of any potential understanding and seeing threats. To understand that while the vaccine itself, it's not implanting you with the mark of the beast, but if they're going to tie it to commerce, to your ability to survive, say, well, you can't make a living without this. Anytime they do that with anything, you can't live without this. It's like Nebuchadnezzar throwing the 3 Hebrew children in the fiery furnace because they wouldn't worship his bullshit. And they want to shut people out from buying and selling in this country because they won't go along with the bullshit. They don't want to get your vaccine, so they can't buy or sell. You don't think that's linked to the mark of the beast, you little you little pencil neck? People need to know that what they're asking them to do is evil. They need to know it's evil. Evil. People who want you to do that stuff, it's evil. People who cooperate, everyone wearing their mask like that, it was evil. Going along with it. I wore the mask what really pissed me off is I knew it. I was like, 99% of people wearing masks, but 40% don't wanna, but are doing it anyways. You cowards, you make me sick. I make myself sick because I go around my neck. I picked yellow for a reason, but actually after a while I began to think it meant I was chicken. I was irritated. I don't hate anybody. I know I put it on to go into the vet's office because it was small. And there were other places I went where I didn't want to deal with it. They were too strict. If I could get away with it, I would. But if they made me, I did it. Made me sick. But not as sick as I was when I wore it when I didn't have to. That's what pisses me off. If they're not making you wear it, don't wear it. Especially if you've got the vaccine and you don't believe you should wear the mask, then don't wear the mask. Follow your conscience, not the orders. That's how people end up putting people into friggin' mass graves. They follow orders. They do what they're told without thinking. Get too used to doing what you're told. Pretty soon you're putting a bullet in the back of the head of some kid and his mom and put her in a friggin' ditch. You people are sick. America is sick. And people who enforce those rules, you're little Nazis. Little Nazis everywhere in America. It's sick. Pisses me off. And this is a little accessory, a little priest helping Hitler. Why the Jews should be exterminated, as far as I'm concerned. That's what he might as well be writing. You might as well close your eyes when you read the Bible if you're going to follow this theologian's advice. Using visions of angels and demons, death and destruction. Bullshit. Stuff that's not real. John tells a story, a tale, a mythical journey of an ongoing cosmic battle between good and evil that will end with good triumphing eventually. Eventually? He is so much putting his praetorism into this. Because they believe in this long writing of the world. But how's your writing of the world going, dude? I forgot his first name. Eric? How's the world getting better? How is the Christianization of the world going? As we ordain homosexuals and marry them to each other. I wouldn't ordain an adulterer either. or a fornicator or a liar. Unless he'd repented. And same thing with homosexual. Absolutely. 100%. I always get ticked off with people picking on one abomination over another. Lying tongue is also an abomination, folks. So if you want to join Sodom and Gomorrah, just keep up with the lies. You and Sodom and Gomorrah can get all cozy together. The book of Revelation is a complicated text. That's not untrue. Written towards the end of the first century. But it's simple yet complex. I will grant you that. And I was in my mask because I wanted to help. I even wore a real mask that actually worked. But then after 2 weeks when it became, we're going to be a little long, and I started seeing they were going to jerk us around. They were lying to us. I stopped. I refused. And I realized also I don't need it. With them enforcing social distancing everywhere, I wasn't going to get close to anybody. But it's true. Like I said in my song, Cancel Culture, if you breathe my breath, you might die. But life, you can't live life without risk. It's funny, I was wondering what young people were doing. Apparently they were kissing with masks on. What's wrong with you people? Seriously. You get sick that way. It doesn't even work. You can't kiss with a mask on. I can see this. I tell you, you can't see my face, but I showed you before. I can see right through this. And if I can see through it, the viruses are just like flying through. All it's doing is catching spit particles that are too big to fit through it. And that is some help. I found this very handy. I sneeze into it. If I have a sneeze or a cough, I keep it on, I keep it on my neck, and then when I got a cough, I go, and then I prevent the spread of germs. I'm all for that. I don't want to gratuitously sneeze on people, though to some degree we do need to get exposure to germs. And all this prevention is probably wrong. George Carlin was probably right. Just eat your food off the ground. But the thing is, on average, that may be true. But you can pick up a really nasty bug that way. And your immune system might get overwhelmed. So I'm not, or you pick up too many of one bug at a time and your own immune system is overwhelmed. So I'm not a big on let's just risk things. But they say working in a garden improves your immune system. And I work in the garden all the time. Well, in the warm months. So, Revelation 13, okay. I like this, though. Look at the beast and its mark are both understood by its author to be evil, and they are some of the most well-known and most misunderstood parts of the story. Why is it so misunderstood? What's misunderstood? The only part that's misunderstood is the part about what the actual nature of the mark is. I remember them saying tattoo, and people are like, no, not a tattoo. It's but it could be a tattoo. I'll tell you, I remember Arnold Murray, my original teacher, who I reject, and I do not follow his teachings, but I just say that without qualification because I mentioned that in the past, and I've gotten people like, he's a follower of Arnold Murray, anti-Trinitarian, and I'm not. So, Arnold Murray used to say, they could tattoo 666 all over your body. It doesn't matter. It's what's in your mind. Well, let me tell you something. That's not true. Let me caution you very carefully on that. Not true. Not true even a little. That was one of the worst lies Arnold Murray ever told. That you could get 666 printed all over you, have microchips jammed in under every inch of your body, and it's not, because to him the mark of the beast was to worship Satan, the actual worshiping itself. I don't take away the mark. It could be a spiritual mark. It could be. I will teach that as a potential interpretation, but, and certainly the real mark of the beast could be without a proxy for the mark. I mean, there's no actual physical mark, but the mark is invisible. But, I don't know. Because it's how are they going to stop you then from buying and selling unless they ask you, Hail Satan at the checkout or something. I mean, that could be as simple as that. And the thing about Nero and some of the Roman emperors, they had similar things. We had to pay, you had to worship the gods or something like. They did some. I thought that was a different persecution. Wasn't that the? What was the other persecution? I keep thinking Diocletian, but that's not right. That's not right, right? I'm just blowing it on that one. I'm not a. By the way, I'm not a scholar, as you may have noticed, and my study is not a scholarly one. If you join me, it's more like this. Okay. What was I getting at? Oh, the mark. He said they could print it. It would all matter what was in your mind. Well, what's in your mind does matter. But it's not, but like lying and crossing your fingers is not honesty. And worshiping and like getting 666 printed on your body, but still worshiping God in your heart is not right either. It's like I'm faithful to my wife in my heart, but I'm sleeping with another woman. Now that's not true, but that is like, that doesn't somehow make sense, right? As that doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter what my body's doing, just as long as my heart's in the right place. You know what I mean? Where your heart is, you're a coward, is what it is. That's where your heart is. You're a coward. I don't want to be killed. I'll get the mark of the beast printed on me. It doesn't matter because in my heart, I don't really worship Satan. I'll just say the words, "Hail Satan," and I'll bow down and worship him. It doesn't matter what my body's doing. It doesn't matter what the mark's on me. As long as I have my head on straight. Well, that's not true. I don't know why I would say that. It's the worst teaching I've ever heard. So he says the beast has 7 heads and 10 horns, the leopard's body. Again, that is right out of Daniel. The leopard, the lion, all that stuff. There's a second beast that promotes worship of the first. The most notable thing about the second beast is that it causes people to receive a mark. With the name of the beast and the number of his name, John concludes the chapter with the riddle. And then he goes on to the empire. Throughout history, the number has been used to demonize phenomena that readers are either way or don't fully understand. It should come as no surprise then that some have tried to connect COVID-19 vaccine to a mark or similar way. Again, he's saying our ignorance is what causes us to do this. But what causes people to do it is when people in the world start acting mark of the beastie. You know what I mean? They start acting like the mark of the beast. What he fails to understand is that there is a what they call, there are gradients. And there's a range. Like you don't go from no mark of the beast to instant total mark of the beast with Satan. You can have that. But what I'm saying is there are other things that are like the mark of the beast. Like, here we have Satan and the mark of the beast over here, right? Right here, over on the far side. Satan and the mark of the beast. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar and the image and the 3 Hebrew children in the fiery furnace. Then we have, something else. Whatever he's talking about in history, things that they linked. COVID-19 vaccine and mask wearing. It's getting over to the other side where it's like not at all like the mark of the beast. But it's not, this is like neutral ground if I were, but like we're getting close to like, maybe not. All right? True. So, but the point is to say that it had, like, to say that this is just history, it's to remove the scripture from, that's what I'm saying. It's spiritually dead. He's teaching you to think of the scriptures as dead. Oh, no, that's not what I'm thinking. Yes, it is what you're teaching. You don't know what you're teaching because you were taught. These people are taught by other people. He's an associate professor. It means he's working with some other professor in a university. And they learn from each other. The men who learn from men. You know what I learned from? God. And that doesn't make me a better scholar. It makes me a crap scholar. Thank God. I mean, we need scholars. I appreciate scholars. I do. I don't want to just like, I'm not not a Luddite. That's someone who doesn't like technology. Someone who's anti-knowledge. Far from it. I use scholarly tools all the time. But these particular kind of scholarship of the interpretive kind, I find very, 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 it's more about the preterists versus the futurists and their little battle and about what side are you on, in my opinion, than about genuinely helping people. It's about an argument between scholars. I think it's just fun. Because some people love to debate and argue. But the fact that it might be affecting people's lives or their decisions, or what they should do as Christians. Should Christians get the vaccine? Should they wear masks? Well, it depends. It depends. And if they're going to, like I said, if they just call on me for my patriotism to wear my mask and help out, I'm all for it, man. I'm with you. If they say you better wear it or you can't come in here anymore and we're not going to want to deal with you and you're out, I'll fight. That's They so badly want to demonize everyone who doesn't wear a mask. They so bad. If they want to make me into a demon, I'll be your demon. I'll make you sorry. Still working on it. Yesterday, I scheduled the release of a new song. It's coming out on June 11th. And this summer should be a summer of music for me. I've been forging my musical missiles, and it's time to let them fly. How much more is left? For some reason, I thought I'd go through all of this. Damn, there's a lot. I got a few more minutes. Let's kind of skim a bit, right? Because I kind of said everything I wanted to say out the gate, I think. Yeah, so 80s, they talk about the Roman, the fire. He was, so he talks about, there's like all these things. His reputation for persecuting, he persecuted Christians. Well, other Roman emperors did. Nero's number, the number of his gematria of his name, they say this, but it's not really where it seems to be allude to Nero. Again. Now see, John describes the beast's head being wounded. It may refer to Nero's death. He self-inflicted. He stabbed himself in the neck and killed himself. Okay. His deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after. The mark of the beast didn't even come till after that. The allusion to Nero is, all they're seeing is an illusion of Nero. It's not an allusion to him. But he is a figure who is Antichrist-like. And it's not surprising that one would arise in the giving of the prophecy. Because all the prophecy of the Old Testament had near-term fulfillments. Not all. But the prophets very frequently had near-term things in mind when they spoke their prophecies. But in the New Testament we learn that also many of those things had long-term things. Here's the thing. And here's my argument to all you preterists, which I am, this is my kick in your groin. This is my kick to your groin. How come? Why is it that Revelation can't be futurist, but all the Old Testament is? Why is a virgin shall conceive futurist, but this isn't? You can't be a futurist sometimes. You know what I mean? I mean, a preterist sometimes. You can't be a futurist sometimes either. I wouldn't call myself a futurist because I'm not like, this is for the future. Book of Revelation is for now, for this pandemic. It is a book to guide you through when humans go, when they go off into satanic realms of government. You know your government's getting satanic when people start comparing it to Revelation. Duh. And this guy's too blind to see it. Because he's so busily, I was about to use an analogy that was extremely profane, but let's say sucking the teat of the establishment. I was going to sucking something else. He's so busy sucking the teat of the establishment that, he wants to, basically he can't get out there fast enough to tell people the vaccine's got nothing to do with the mark of the beast. No links seen here as they link it. Now they've withdrawn. I don't think it's going to work out. They want to link it to stuff. But I don't think it's going to work out. There's going to be lawsuits. People in America are going to stand up to it. I don't think this is going to work out. The crisis is over. The pressure is not strong enough. To really get a mark of the beast, like in Revelation, you need to have a powerful crisis. Satan is that crisis himself when he comes. And also the horrible, you look at the events that precede the appearance of Antichrist. They're all very earth-shaking. And if COVID-19 a lot shook people enough to let all this stuff be done to them, imagine what's going to happen when the earth really starts quaking. People are going to just, and why they should bow down to these incompetent people. What terrifies me is now I look at government, I realize we elected all incompetent people. We elected morons. Our president the last one was not a genius. He was not a moron though. Not a moron, He probably was a genius in his way. I'm not going to, I don't want to take that away from him. But I mean, in the sense that people usually think of a brainy, bookworm type of guy. He wasn't that kind of guy. He was smart in his way. He was clever like a fox, kind of clever. That guy. The current one. Even him, though, it's like, he was printing money, the last president. He was printing money. It's going to be a disaster for us all. And that they kept doing it after. It wasn't like it was just him. We were all printing money. Hey! But we are governed. Not by the best of us, guys. Not by the best of us. And we're going to have this huge crisis, and we're going to be governed by power-hungry people who have no scruples, morals, or otherwise. They're power-hungry. That's what we've got. They want to run your life, and they're not competent to do it. They're not competent as, like, I'm more competent than they are. I don't want them running my life. I don't want them telling me when to put a damn mask on and when not to, or whether or not I should get a shot. Or, God forbid, the other things they want to get involved with, like whether or not your boy is a boy. Someone comes to me and tries to tell me my boy's not a boy and they want to take him. That's the day I cash everything in and kill people who need to die. I mean, that's where I'll go. That will be I'll die that day too, or they'll take me, whatever. But I'm just saying that's the day. Probably shouldn't have said that on a live stream, but whatever. No, it's true. You come to take my kid away and start giving him hormones, I'll kill you. I will. That's let them know. I will. You better come with your tanks or whatever. No, I won't just fight. I'll call my neighbors to fight. I'll call all my neighbors to fight. And my neighbors are well armed. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was thinking when people talk about, you're sure about, if people came to my house to protest me when I release my songs, and they show up here, they're going to be boxed in so bad they're going to cry. Because we will surround them. You show up in my place, you won't be able to leave. Getting in's easy, it's getting out. That's a warning. Anybody tries to mess with that, I will not play. I will not play. When it comes to defending my family, yeah. You want to give me a shot? I might, it's a shot. It's like, but I've told people, I almost want to get the shot, the vaccine, just so I could go and not wear a mask everywhere and encourage people. I mean, I've started just not wearing it. I wore it for a couple of days. In my state, they changed it. They said, oh, if you have the shot, you don't have to wear the mask. Well, I'm like, I'm not getting the shot. So I kept wearing the mask because I didn't want people to think that I'd gotten the shot. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wanted to make sure the mask I still wear it around my neck, not on my face. I didn't cover my face. But I put it on my neck because I'm still not, I want people to know I didn't get the vaccine. I know you can take the mask off. I'm feeling like leaving mine on now for a long time. Maybe for the next maybe I'll wear it all the time. Some people don't want to take them off. They want to constantly have their faces covered. I don't like those. I'm suspicious of that. I mean, I know why you like that, and I understand it. I don't say I don't like those people, but some people like it for the privacy, which I understand. My wife said she liked it. Like, she tried a mask for the first week, and she was like, forget it. She never wore it right either, which was funny. She always had it on her chin, but she's like, I like it. It kind of covers my face. It's private. I get it. I know some people like that. It's like, it's kind of probably nice to be out in public and feel even more anonymous. And also, like I said, I love the idea of masks. They got cameras everywhere. Let's wear masks forever. I do like the idea. I just hate the way they brought it out. I am not a natural enemy. It's just like with vaccines. I'm not against vaccines. I'm not saying I'm a believer in them. I don't disbelieve in the science of vaccination, but I don't want. But I want one that's been around for a while. I don't want to ask my family to jump in on a vaccine they developed less than a year ago. You know what I mean? Not interested. Again, he says it's past, not future. I say both, past, future, and present. The book of Revelation. Remember, what did it say? I'm he that was and is to come. These people don't understand God and they don't understand the Bible. The well-known practice of gematria, the letters assign, the numerical value, they assume that's what 666 means. I don't know what 666 means. I doubt it's the gematria of Caesar's near. Just because there's also a lot of, I remember someone showing me this with Ronald Reagan. There's a lot of people that have come into 666. And it's also in Hebrew characters only. The book of Revelation is in Greek. This is like, to me, all right, this paragraph here, and if you're looking for this is on the conversation.com, but you can just search the title of the article. I mean, I just looked up Mark of the Beast and I got this as a news article. So, and it's fairly recent, I guess. How recent? April 7th. That's pretty recent. You can tell him I responded to his article. I don't do it because I was too rough on him. Don't say anything mean to the guy. I feel bad. He's just a little puppy following his masters. The number of their name. It's funny because I look at these guys now. I look at the face and I see a kid. I see a kid. I don't. He's probably 40. I don't know. Or no, he's an associate professor. He's 30. All right. Again. Or whatever. I shouldn't compare my. I always want to be like to flex a bit, Flex my, like, what have you done exactly that qualifies you for a man of God position? What do you think makes you qualified to talk? Oh, you went to school, did you? You know what qualifies me? I call on the name of Jesus, and the power of God came over me. And I felt it surging through my body. That's what gives me the knowledge to know that I ought to be a man of God. There, however, wait a second. Other allusions to Nero. I never, I look at it, I could call them allusions to Hitler. I mean, it doesn't really matter. How many people, when Reagan was shot, that was the deadly wound. Everybody who ever gets wounded, who's a major leader, becomes a deadly wound. Everybody. Yeah, I mean, as far as you could construe that is what I'm saying. And it's not really it. I mean, it's not the fulfillment. What I'm saying is the prophecies all have forerunners and they have contemporaries and things that might fit in not at every moment, but at any given time. Your knowledge of Revelation may help you. Your knowledge of the Gospels may help you at any time. And so it's for now. When someone starts acting like Antichrist, it doesn't mean they are the Antichrist. It just means you ought to beware of them as if they were the Antichrist. That's what I'm teaching you. That's what I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you to be aware, even in your time. If you don't live to see the end of times, you still got to be a Christian in your time and do the right thing. That leaves little doubt. There is, however, one piece of the riddle left. I don't buy that gematria argument at all. It's only in Hebrew. So why not Greek? Why not Roman? It doesn't, how many New Testament readers in the first century, or how many Christians in the New Testament, period, could even read, let alone read Hebrew? Of course, it does call on him that hath understanding. Obviously, so someone has to be learned, I suppose you could argue. And okay, granted. Exactly what the mark of the beast is the one thing left, according to him. Given the symbolic nature of the book as a whole, is not likely something taken at face value. I agree. But the thing is, like I said, just because you don't take it at face value, it doesn't mean that the face value thing is negated. There are passages where it's talking about adultery, but God is talking about his relationship with his people. It talks about them going and playing the harlot and going and being these are analogies and stuff. But just because, it's not talking about real adultery, it doesn't mean that, real adultery is now okay. Any more than the mark of the beast isn't really a tattoo of 666. That doesn't mean you should go get a tattoo of 666 to prove it. Because all you're doing is proving yourself right. I don't believe the tattoo of 666 is the mark of the beast, so I'm going to go get one to prove it. Basically as a way of doubling down on my own opinion. But it's just my opinion. And you should not ever assume that, just because it's spiritual, that means the literal thing is okay. Especially when it's something so evil. So what does one need to buy and sell that would also have the name of the beast on it? Oh, God, this part. Oh, he did this. One possible answer is the question is money. Now, I like that he said possible answer because he knows how weak this is. This is a terrible argument. We have numerous examples in the archaeological record of Roman coinage that bears the name Caesar Nero. What he's saying is like, you couldn't buy or sell without money. Huh? The mark of the beast, the number of his name. They made an image of the beast. Only problem is that's so mundane. Also, Jesus himself sanctified the use of coinage. He sanctified the use of coinage. So the coin usage cannot be you can't buy or sell without the mark. You think Christians were buying and selling in the first century? You thoughtless, silly scholar. Did you ever think they might have used money? Did anyone actually get prevented from buying or selling in the first century because they refused to use a coin? Considering the fact that Jesus himself said, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, and the things that, to God, the things that are God's? I mean, how could you say the coin is the mark of the beast? What a stupid thing to say! It's stupid. It pisses me off. This passes for scholarship. What the? You see why I don't do this? Why I stick to the Bible? It pisses me off. I'm not going to sit here and curse into the camera all day. Listening to this garbage. Coins. It pisses me off. These are the people we're relying on to teach us. I got to turn the microphone down. I'm too much yelling. Now we got better. I can yell and it won't die. Or actually it is. That's just actually my internal volume. Hello. All right, there we go. I don't want to break the it's fun to yell sometimes. It pisses because I just want to scream at this. It makes me, and I know a lot of people are probably watching my study for the first time. It's because as soon as you say Revelation, they're like, tune in. Sorry about the foul language. I'm a slightly profane person, and we shouldn't be profane. God has called us to speak good words. Words that are acceptable, not profane and, right? But, even Moses himself, when frustrated with the children of Israel, spoke unadvisedly with his lips, is what it says. And it probably is something like that. Or at least, I'll tell you what, sometimes I don't, sometimes the cursing is just filler for frustration. They call them spicy sentence enhancing. They weren't curses, actually profanity. Use a little profanity. Like bullshit's profanity. It's not a curse of any kind. I would not curse a man. I have cursed people, that's true actually. But I would not curse this man over this, though, because he may have cursed himself. Right? Why should I do it? Why should I endanger my soul cursing a man who may not deserve it? He may not. What is the mark of the beast? John in his first century would have been able to know the answer to what is the mark of the beast in their first century context. Here's the problem. Why didn't they write about it? Why didn't they tell us what all those symbols meant contemporaneously, since they obviously would have understood? Yeah, you know what? Honestly, the text doesn't make much sense to anyone until they read it, until they know it. When it's first read, it never makes sense. You need to know the Bible. You need to have experience for it to make sense. The idea that it had to make sense in the first century. Also, what about Daniel? What about the prophecies of the Old Testament? A lot of times those also didn't make sense in their time. Like Jesus, he made how can the book of Revelation be all preterist when Jesus himself was futurist? They'll say he was a preterist too, actually. But the Old Testament was definitely futurist. How could it not be? A virgin shall conceive. There was a virgin in the days of Isaiah. How come the scholar isn't saying, well, Jesus isn't the Messiah? The virgin shall conceive. That's prophecy just referred to a child born in the days of Ahaz in Isaiah's prophecy. It is. It's about the past. It's not about the future. He might as well make that same argument And in fact, you can make no other. I mean, they will, but it's like, you can't be a futurist in the book of Revelation. I mean, I keep saying it. You can't be a preterist in the book of Revelation and not be a futurist and then be a futurist in the Old Testament about the Old Testament prophecies. It's too much hypocrisy. In other words, when John gives his number of the beast riddle to readers of the first century, he anticipates there's a riddle that will be equipped to solve in the first century. If he was writing for them, maybe he assumes it would be able to be interpreted by people in the future. And maybe he was thinking kind of like Daniel. Let's close with a scripture. Let me see. Is there anything in this last paragraph I want to... Well, some may have lingering questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. Are they linked to the mark of the beast? Yes, they are linked. Now, the mark of the beast is not in it, but I'm saying there is a spiritual link between forcing people to get vaccinated and the mark of the beast. Yes, indeed. Forcing people to take a vaccine in order to participate in life is friggin' horrific, terrible, despotic, authoritarian Satanism. Satanism. Forcing people to be vaccinated is Satanism. All right? Not anything else. And don't let anyone lie to you and say that it's not connected to the Bible. They're liars. Now, vaccines themselves are not evil if they're not. I mean, I don't believe in this, like they're putting microchips in the vaccine or the vaccine is altering your DNA. Some people think, I'm not a believer in that, and you can look into that, research that if you want, because I'm not even considering taking the vaccine. I don't need all that garbage. I'm not going to take something under pressure like that, and I already had the sickness. Why should I get it? I told this, as I said, I want to donate my vaccine dose to a needy person in India who can't afford it because Bill Gates won't share the patent with them, or whatever. I want to donate my vaccine to a grandma who's dying in India who needs it. Or some old person in the third world who can't get the vaccine and who's vulnerable. I want to donate it to them. I don't need it. I already recovered from COVID. It presents no danger to me or to my family. We've all been exposed. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't want a vaccine. I'll donate it. It's supposed to be, it's not free. Someone's paying for it. And if it's mine, I want to take my vaccine and I want to donate it to someone who needs it. Not in another country, not here. We all get it for free here. They're wasting our money on this. There's a huge friggin' cash to the pharmaceutical companies. Oh my God. And making it mandatory. You can bet they want it mandatory. They're pushing like hell. And they want liability protection. So if it screws you up, they can't get sued. Can you see why I wouldn't want to jump into line for this thing? I mean, I ain't jumping in line for that vaccine. Hell no. Are you kidding me? No way. So don't be in a hurry to get it. If you got to get it, though, don't worry. If for work or whatever, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not the mark of the beast. It's just mark of the beastie. It's like the mark of the beast, but it's not a mark of the beast. What they're doing is evil. But by getting this vaccine, you are not participating in the mark of the beast. I want to say that. But you are right to resist it. You are justified in resisting it. And that's what I say about it. You are right to resist it. You are right. If you want to, absolutely. You don't have to take this, and we shouldn't. Not at the point of a gun. Because it's like when you say someone can't buy or sell, you might as well be pointing a friggin' gun to their head. Though in the time that this was written, buying and selling was, you could survive without buying and selling. But in our day, you can't. Interesting. Because the mark of the beast is much more scary in our times, because you think about it, how essential. Most of us are not set up to live on our own. I mean, I'm close. Like, I live in a rural area. I've got 3 acres almost, and I've got, it's a gravel road. I don't know. But I got a garden, right? And I also got 8 kids and a wife and a couple beasts, and keeping that all alive. And for me, it's like, wow, how would I survive if I couldn't go to the store, if suddenly I was just stuck here with everybody? We aren't ready, man, right? But nobody is. If suddenly there was no stores, there was no supplies, there was no nothing. Boy, that fan's going crazy again. Hour and 20 minutes, wow. It's okay, there's no limit. There never is. I was going to say, we'll go at least, we won't, I was going to say at the beginning, now I'm not going to extend this study artificially to an hour by intentionally lengthening it. You know what I mean? By like trying to fill in time. Won't do that. But I've done it inadvertently by just talking for so long, which is fine. Is I don't want to fill time. I'm glad we went over. We're going to go one scripture to close that I want you to understand about prophecy. When Daniel was given, and Daniel, as we discovered, and let me give a different panel here. We're done with that article. Bible collection, main. There we go. Now, onto Bible collection. Hey, right. Let's look at Daniel here. Look at this verse in Daniel. I think it's the last verse of 11. I'm going to have trouble finding it. Maybe it's time to look at the concordance. I hate wasting time like this with dead air, me searching through the scriptures. Then shall Michael stand up. I think it's at the end of 12 then. Yeah, there you go. Daniel 12:9. He said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till that time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And this is, the funny thing is that here, this is why we believe in Jesus. This is why the Jews should believe in Jesus, because the Messiah had to come in the first century. This is right there. 1,290 days. There's also 1,260 days in the book of Revelation, 30 days missing. There's a lot of days stuff that could go on. But here's the thing. That the prophecy of Daniel had a lot to do with the time of Daniel. But also there were things in it that sealed up till the end. And the idea that John would have written only for his contemporaries is absolute trash. And especially when you consider that Revelation, there is no book in the Bible that is more comparable to Revelation than Daniel itself. And Daniel was a prophecy written with the same kind of structure of these beasts and the same 666, not 666, but it's 60 and 6. And when John wrote Revelation, it is entirely plausible to say that he was thinking he's writing the sequel to Daniel. And he's writing, it's not 60 and 6 anymore, it's 666. And the beasts are bigger, and the thing is not. This is the end vision that Daniel is talking about. This is what the fullness of the vision looks like. And it's so I think that case is very easy to make. You want to talk about the book of Revelation alluding to Nero? How about the allusions to the book of Daniel in the book of Revelation? There are dozens of them. So, if you want to subdivide it, you could say hundreds if you were to really get down to detail level. So, and the book of Daniel was written as a book for his time and also for the future. And so, yeah, of course Revelation is for the future. There is a futurist interpretation, and I don't say that there isn't a preterist one either. I am one of those both write it type people who say there is, but preterism is wrong in that it says that it was fulfilled. And if a futurist say that it's only fulfilled in the future, then they're also wrong. But I'm not sure that's the point of view. As someone who would be called a futurist, I'm oddly not, because I didn't learn from futurists. Meaning I don't know how they arrive at their conclusion. I'm self-taught for the most part, other than the first 4 years when I started studying with Arnold Murray. But since then, I've been entirely studying on my own. And, when I say entirely, I don't mean looking at commentaries. I mean just on my own in the Bible with study tools that are merely references. Mostly language references. So, all right, anyways. So prophecy, the book of Revelation, is it for today and tomorrow? I say yes, it's for all time. God is he which was and is to come. Another clue he drops in there is to how you should regard the prophecy. That it is for you. It is written to you that you should know. Look at Revelation. I clicked on the wrong thing. On Revelation, it says, if I was going to, another closing verse. I wanted one with right which thou sawest and blah, blah, blah. But whatever. Point is, it was written to the churches. It was written to us. You know, the scriptures came of old by the will of God. The prophets spoke. These things were written, and they are for our admonition, on whom the ends of the world are come. Because everyone comes to the end of the world at some point. When I come to the end of the world, we are at the end of the world. The future, right now, this is the end of the world. This is the world is at the end. You know what I mean? This is the end. And then it becomes the past. But we come to the end. And there is an end, a proper end too. You know, so there is a past end, there is the now. It comes to an end, and there's the future. All are appropriate, and the prophecy is useful for understanding the past, the present, and the future. That is what a good scholar, a real teacher, a spiritual alive teacher is going to teach you. And I hope that you will continue to join me in studies. Our normal line-by-line studies are rather lengthy. You know, we may do more specials. I've wanted to do specials. You know, and if you'd like to recommend one, you can always write me at the question thing. I'm setting up to check my email more frequently. I have a question there that I was going to do something on. I think I have to do it live because pre-recording doesn't work out. I pre-record things and then they sit because I tell myself I want to edit them. I got to do it live because then I have no choice. If I yell and make a fool of myself, or if I say a bad word, I don't get to edit it out, and I just have to live with it. And so do you. So thanks for joining me in this study. I look forward to being back again tomorrow. We're going to close out with a new mix I did of the heavy metal version of Revelation 13, which I'm working on. I hope this year, after I finish some of these political songs I'm doing, and please remember, watch my other channel, June 11th, a song's coming out. There'll be an announcement somewhere about the song coming out, and then the video sometime after. But music. Yeah, we're gonna close out with the with this the same thing we listened to before, except now the more modern. That was my Revelation 2001 we heard. There's also a version of Revelation 13 I did on my other YouTube channel, and you can watch that video and hear that there. The other two songs, well, the 2001 Apocalypse is available on my website. This is available nowhere yet, which you're about to hear, but will be hopefully this summer, or this year, not this summer, this autumn. It's a little too loud. To make an image to the beast which had a woman's soul and to live.
For the name of the beast, or the number of his name,